Got to give a big shout out to Lit RPG Reads and Paul Bello, fine fellow, for sending this article over. It's called 4 Best Ways to Use ChatGPT for D&D World Building. And, it really got me thinking about all this time I've stayed up late, like way too late. Just scribbling notes for my next D&D session. You ever get that feeling? Where you're trying to come up with like the perfect backstory for some mysterious NPC. Or maybe you're like designing this sprawling dungeon with traps that'll totally make your players sweat. I mean, it's a labor of love, but sometimes it can really feel like pulling teeth just to get those creative juices flowing. I remember this one campaign where my players, they decided to completely go off script and explore this supposedly cursed forest that I kind of vaguely mentioned in passing. Totally hadn't planned anything for. So suddenly I'm scrambling, trying to come up with like eerie descriptions, strange creatures, maybe a hidden temple, all while trying to sound cool and collected, behind the DM screen. So when I saw this article about using ChatGPT for world building, my ears perked right up. I was like, could this be it? The secret weapon that DMs have been waiting for. A way to like supercharge our creativity and maybe even save us some precious sleep. Wow. That's what we're going to unpack in this deep dive.
You know what I find really intriguing about this whole thing is the idea of ChatGPT as like a brainstorming partner. Not to replace the DM's creativity, of course, but more like augment it. It's kind of like having a co-creator, someone to help you flesh out ideas, generate different possibilities, maybe even offer a different perspective. Now, for those who might not be familiar with ChatGPT, it's essentially this language model that can generate text based on prompts. So let's say you're struggling to come up with a backstory for a villain. You could give ChatGPT some basic info. About their personality, their motivations, their goals, and it can actually help you generate different options to kind of play around with. So imagine this. You're working on a campaign set in this bustling port city, right? But you're hitting a wall when it comes to describing it. All the sights and the sounds, the smells that would make this place feel real. Well, you could give ChatGPT a prompt, something like, describe the sensory details of a port city known for its exotic spice trade. And then what happens? The AI could generate these amazing descriptions of like colorful market stalls overflowing with spices, the salty air mixing with the scent of grilling seafood, all these different languages as merchants haggle over prices. It could even suggest little details, like the sound of parrots squawking or a glimpse of a sailor with a mysterious scar. Pretty cool, right?
That does sound pretty cool. But I can already hear some folks out there saying, hold on now. Isn't that cheating? Shouldn't I be coming up with all this myself?
Yeah, I get that. It's a valid concern. But here's the thing. Even the best DMs, we all hit those creative roadblocks sometimes. We get stuck, we run out of ideas, and sometimes we just need a little push, to get those creative gears turning again. And that's where ChatGPT can come in. It's not about replacing our creativity, but giving us a spark, a catalyst to break through those mental barriers and unlock new possibilities. Think of it like having a brainstorming partner who can offer a fresh perspective, challenge our assumptions, help us see things from a different angle. And the best part is, you're still in control. You choose what suggestions to use, how to adapt them to fit your vision, and ultimately how to weave it all together. ChatGPT is a tool. And like any tool, its effectiveness depends on the skill of the person using it.
Okay, so let's get practical here. Say you're starting a brand new campaign. You're excited to build this whole world from scratch. Where do you even begin with ChatGPT? Does it just like magically spit out a fully formed world, like with a snap of your fingers?
Haha. If only it were that easy.
Right. So how does it actually work then?
Well, think of it like this. You're commissioning an artist to paint a portrait. You wouldn't just say, paint me something cool, right?
No, definitely not.
You'd give them specific details about the subject, the style, the mood you want to capture. It's the same with ChatGPT. The more specific your prompts are, the better the results you'll get.
So instead of asking for just a generic fantasy kingdom, I should give it more details.
Exactly. You could say something like, describe a kingdom ruled by a council of sorcerers where magic is tightly regulated. And there are tensions brewing between those who practice sanctioned magic and those who delve into forbidden arts.
I like that. That gives it a lot more to work with.
Right.
The article also mentioned something about defining your goals for the world.
Yeah, that's super important. What's the overall theme of your campaign? What kind of stories do you want to tell? What kind of challenges do you want your players to face?
Okay, so I need to have a clear vision in mind before I even start messing with ChatGPT.
Exactly. Once you have that vision, you can start feeding those details into ChatGPT and see what it comes up with.
And don't be afraid to experiment.
Right. Absolutely. One of the cool things about ChatGPT, is that it can handle a wide range of genres and styles.
So I could create like a gritty cyberpunk world.
Totally. Or a whimsical fairy tale setting. The possibilities are pretty much endless.
That's so cool. So it sounds like ChatGPT can really help with generating ideas.
Oh, definitely. But it can also help you refine them.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, let's say you have a concept for a dungeon, but it feels kind of flat. You could describe the dungeon to ChatGPT and ask it to suggest ways to make it more challenging, more intriguing, or more thematically appropriate for your campaign.
So I could say something like, I have this abandoned dwarf in mind, but it needs something special. Can you suggest ways to add traps, puzzles, or hidden lore that tie into the dwarves' history?
Exactly. And ChatGPT might suggest incorporating pressure plates that trigger cave-ins, or riddles inscribed in ancient dwarven runes, or even like the ghostly apparition of a dwarven king who haunts the mine.
Oh, that's awesome.
Right.
It's like having a dungeon master consultant on call.
Pretty much. And you know another great thing about ChatGPT is that it can be a real time saver, especially for those more tedious world-building tasks.
Like what?
Well, creating detailed stat blocks for every minor NPC you encounter, that can get pretty repetitive.
Yeah, for sure.
Instead of spending hours crunching numbers, you could give ChatGPT some basic parameters like creature type, challenge rating, special abilities, and it can generate a stat block that's ready to use.
Wow. So I could basically just plug and play.
Pretty much. Of course, you'll probably want to review the results and make any adjustments to fit your campaign. But it can save you so much time and effort, which frees you up to focus on the more creative aspects of DMing.
That's amazing. I'm already seeing how this could be a game changer for DMs.
It definitely has the potential. And remember, it's not just about generating content from scratch. ChatGPT can also help you refine existing ideas, flesh out details, and even come up with alternative approaches.
Oh, that's cool.
Like imagine you've created this detailed map of a city, but you're struggling to come up with interesting points of interest. You could describe each district to ChatGPT and ask it to suggest unique locations, businesses, or landmarks that would make each area feel distinct and memorable.
So it could suggest like a hidden speakeasy beneath a bakery.
Exactly. Or a towering clock tower that houses a secret society of time mages. Or a bustling marketplace where merchants from all over the world gather.
That's incredible. It's like having a never-ending source of inspiration. We've talked a lot about ChatGPT and all the cool stuff it can do, but I think it's important to remember that it's not just about quantity. It's about quality, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see some DMs getting so caught up in all the options that they end up with a world that feels kind of Frankenstein-y, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's all cobbled together from different
Charm.
pieces that don't quite fit.
Exactly. The article talked about the importance of having that guiding vision, that North Star for your campaign.
Right?
It's like being a music producer. You might have a ton of samples and loops, but it's your ear, your artistic sense, that shapes them into a song. It's the same with world building.
I totally agree. It's what keeps your world from feeling random and gives it its own unique identity.
Right. And that's something ChatGPT can't do for you.
Exactly. It can give you the building blocks, but it's up to you to assemble them into something special.
I think that's a really important point.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what makes a D&D world compelling isn't just about having the coolest monsters or the most elaborate dungeons.
It's about the story. It's about creating a space where players can connect with the characters and feel like their choices matter.
Think about some of the most memorable campaigns you've played in.
Yeah.
They weren't just about random encounters and loot drops.
No, they were stories.
Right.
With heart, with conflict, with moments that make you laugh or gasp, maybe even shed a tear or two.
That's the magic that ChatGPT can't replicate.
Exactly.
It's the human element,
Yeah.
the spark of inspiration, the ability to tap into those universal themes that resonate with us on a deeper level.
And that's not to say that ChatGPT can't play a role in crafting those stories.
Right.
It can be a fantastic tool
For brainstorming.
for fleshing out ideas, even generating dialogue.
But it's just a tool.
Right.
Like a paintbrush or a musical instrument. It's up to the artist, the musician, in this case the dungeon master,
Right.
to use that tool effectively.
To create something truly special.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into ChatGPT for D&D world building, I think the takeaway is this. AI can be an incredible ally in our quest to create amazing gaming experiences.
Sure.
It can spark our imaginations. It can save us time. It can push us to think outside the box. But it's not a replacement for our own creativity and passion.
It's about finding that balance
Right.
between the power of AI and the magic of human storytelling.
And to Paul Bello, fine fellow, thank you again for the article. It's given us a lot to think about, and I'm excited to see where this technology goes and how it shapes the future of D&D.
Me too.
Now, excuse me. I've got a world to build
Yeah.
and a ChatGPT session to start.